Hi, Isla. How are you today?
Good. I'm really excited to be doing the show with you today.
I am very excited about it as well. Today, guys, we have got Jane Wynne and her daughter Melissa Day with us. For those of you who've been following her many voices over the years, we have been working in Haiti since the 2010 earthquake, and we met these fine ladies back in that day, and we've been working with them all of these years,
Yeah.
and they've become family at this point. And yeah, I'm very excited that they're both here.
Yeah.
What we're going to be talking about, what we're addressing, is a little difficult to hear, um, but it needs to be put out there. There's a
Well,
lot going on in Haiti.
and something that I feel like that you've talked about over the years, because when you first started working in Haiti, you didn't know anyone there, and people would say, "Why aren't you working in your own backyard?"
Mm,
And you told me, "Well, I just my backyard's bigger than some people's."
yeah,
And I feel like that's such a powerful message for people to hear right now, that there's there's more than one way to work, and there's more than one way to understand where your backyard is. So
yeah,
please listen and think about how you can be part of creating better in the world, because when we work together, we rise together.
absolutely, absolutely. It goes to the theme of her many voices of whatever I do for another, I do for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I found the collaboration with Jane and Melissa and Sarah, um, Jane's other daughter, their family, their team. That collaboration has gone a long way for us. We have been supporting each other over these years, and I thought it was really important for those of you who aren't familiar with what's going on in Haiti. The government they are struggling, and gangs have taken over the country. They are running a big chunk of the country at this point. And so there is all of this concern about what is going to be left at the end of the day when
Yeah.
you have people who go in and they treat others and they treat the land without respect. Um, at any rate, they will be able to talk to you a little bit more in detail of what's going on. But one of the things that we did for Her Many Voices is we met Jane, and we were able to do this short video. It's about 6 minutes long,
Yeah.
and it'll explain. I think it's a good introduction to the interview today with Theo. So let's go ahead and cue up the video, please.
Every night I go to bed, I hear some type of drum in the mountain. The drum, all my life, has been the heartbeat of Haiti. Instead of the drum, now you cannot sleep anymore. You hear bullets, you hear gunshots. On our side of the mountain, this is where you hear all the shooting, all the time. Laurent, the employee who takes care of the flowers, he came one morning after all the gunshot. He said, 7 members of my family were killed last night. 6 in one house and 1 in the house next door. You can't believe how violent it is. It started with burning tires, barricades, everyone has become his own judge. So almost everyone had a machete. You walk around with a machete, or you have machetes in your house, and if they suspect someone, and that was the only way, there are not enough police, the army is not functional. I did not want to leave because I felt I was needed right there on the land, and the violence is augmenting.
In order to keep your legacy going, and in order to continue the fight, we need to keep you safe. If you're not alive, Jane, it all ends right then and there. We have to recognize, because of the watershed that is there at Kenscoff, at Wynne Farm, that protects how much of Port-au-Prince, how much of the area. It goes beyond Kenscoff, does it not?
Yes.
It does.
Our mission is, like my dad passed it on to us, to me first, and then I passed on to the children. It's to protect Wynne Farm, which is inside that watershed. If Wynne Farm falls, the watershed will fall too, you know. 45 million people depend on it for water.
And what's the name of the watershed?
The whole watershed is called Sourçailles.
Sourçailles.
It's where the two sides of two different hills meet together. From tributaries, they go down into streams, ravines, streams, and then a river. If we let the rain just go off the cliff, it doesn't infiltrate to feed the springs. This watershed feeds 3 rivers. If they dry, a whole lot of people will be out of water. Then there'll be a war for water. Recently, because there has been no order, many little houses are being built on the watershed. That means when it rains, the water does not seep into the soil anymore. It's bad. We need a group of people to protect that watershed. But if we leave, the whole watershed is gone. If we leave, if we let go. As long as we are alive, we should keep doing our part in protecting that watershed.
The people you left behind, so they're going to be the ones to say to you, hopefully soon, it's time to come home. The drums are beating again. They're going to say, it's time to come home. Can you hear it, Jane? They're going to call you one night, talking about, in
the darkness, there will be some light coming.
The day will come. The day will come for that.
Wow. I cannot help but be moved by what I saw there. And I can't help but be moved by the work that you ladies have done. And what you're facing right now is something that I can't even imagine. Your courage is commendable and your sacrifice is beyond appreciated. And I'm so glad that first and foremost, you were able to make it out with your lives. That's the first step in creating any light out of this very, very dark situation. So today with me, I have Alyssa Day and her lovely mother, Jane Wynne. How are you ladies doing? Irrespective of the situation, how are you doing today in the present moment?
We're happy to be here with you all, and we feel very held.
Absolutely.
We are,
Absolutely.
we are, we are very thankful for you and the whole team of Her Many Voices. So happy. Thank you.
Oh, certainly. Listen, it's the least I can do. Like, this is the bare minimum of, the beginning of how I can contribute to any kind of reconciliation of the intense, momentous, tragic outcomes that we're seeing before us today. But if Haiti has taught us anything, it's about resilience. And just a side note, I'm a son of Jamaica, patrilineally. My folks come from Maypen, Jamaica. And there's a great pride I have in being of Caribbean ancestry on that side about our ability to keep on pressing through circumstances that just are insurmountable and in surmounting them anyway. Haiti got a special place in my heart. Haiti got a special place in my heart. The audacity to be self-liberated, the audacity to be the first country in the modern world to free itself from the bonds of slavery and to set that example for all enslaved people, for all oppressed people all across the world, shocked the Western world at that time and put France on its heels, forced the sale of 1/3 of the United States landmass in the Louisiana Purchase. We, as America, would not be America had it not been for the courage of Haitians. And so I just want to say that the fact that America continues to intervene violently, covertly, sadistically, with one destabilizing, underhanded effort after another, strikes me in a special way and makes me deeply upset about the possibility of that happening again. And that the domino effect of that is what we're seeing now affecting Wynne Farm. And I was wondering if either you could speak to what you feel are the probabilities that though nominally these are gangs taking over right now, what do you feel, either one of you ladies, about the fact that there might be a hidden hand and agenda at play from the West that's manipulating these pieces in Haiti?
Well, frankly, Theo, we don't know the answer to that, but considering the magnitude of what's happening, I'm not sure that it's only coming from Haiti.
Mm.
The expansion of gang activity, the amount of weapons that are entering Haiti, that, Haiti doesn't have the means to acquire all these weapons.
Manufacturing, yeah.
Obviously, there's a lack of regulation of weapon sales, and a
Right.
lot of them do come from the U.S. That we know for sure. And a lot of the ways the gangs have been operating in the capital. First of all, I want to correct this. It's not the entire country. It's mostly the capital and its surroundings that have been hijacked by gangs. And the magnitude of what's happening, for example, this past week, the gangs have burned rice fields, acres of rice fields in the Altibonite region of the country. This is like the breadbasket of the country, I can say. And they set fire to these areas. And I'm thinking, what kind of entity or group? This is not a simple revolution of, we're trying to get back. No, like, why would you burn the crops that feed you
Right.
and your family? So this
Right.
seems like a bigger agenda, and we're just at a loss of words. Like, we don't understand what's happening, and I don't know. I don't know
Right.
I don't know who is behind it. We have
Right.
suspicions, but we absolutely have no idea, because this is a very well organized, well orchestrated mission, and the agenda is being carried out in exponential ways.
Yeah, I can see that. Just if it were organically from Haiti, why would they shoot themselves in the foot, burning the things that they would eat? It seems like outside force. And the reason why I suspect this is because I remember in 2021, the president of Haiti being suddenly assassinated by hitmen who were from outside of the country. I remember that. That made it to our news. These guys were, I believe, from Central America or South America. They weren't even Haitian themselves. And so it doesn't seem like it is outside of the realm of possibilities to suspect that. But before I go any further down down that rabbit hole, I really want to talk about Wynne Farm. I really want to talk about the history, because the reason why we're here is because what you've done on the island means so much to the safety, stability, and well-being of the island. And there's a history that I want to really address when it comes to your ecological reserve. And for this question, I gotta ask our beloved elder Jane, Sister Jane. Can you tell me about the history of Wynne Farm and what it means to you and what that watershed is doing right now for the people of Haiti?
Thank you, Theo. Thank you so much. First of all, I want you to know where it is located. The farm is located in the mountains of Kenscoff, 6,000 feet high. It's inside a watershed that serves, as we saw in the video, almost 4 million people.
Mm.
And it's so important, because if we don't protect the top of this mountain, the people in the lower regions will not get water. Today, there's a battle for we don't know what, but in the future, it will be a battle for water. If it's not protected, it will be a battle for water. And my father started the farm in 1956 when he wanted to create a pilot project for soil conservation and water conservation. So he understood then that we have to save the soil in order to save water. If we don't save the soil, there will be no water. So for decades, the reserve has been a sanctuary for biodiversity. And it's because we were protecting the soil and the water that brought back life to the area that was eroded. So my dad had done a lot of terrace and soil conservation, in which the birds brought in seeds naturally, and also we planted trees on the hillside. But for many years, we have been collaborating with local, national, and international organizations. Thus, we have now the Rural Center for Sustainable Development. Sometimes the wind farm was called the Rural Center for Sustainable Development. And what we did, we provided workshops, sustainability workshops for farmers, environmental awareness for students, a space for those studying in the university, those studying agronomy, a space for them to experience hands-on practices in agriculture, like composting. We taught them composting. We've been making a lot of that. soil conservation methods. It was also a space for research, doing research in biodiversity. For example, entomology. We've had some students in doctorate, doing their doctorate degrees in entomology have used that space for that. Also, those in ornithology. So also the space was used as a center, a place for reconnection to nature, because many families on weekends would bring children up there just to be there, to be in nature. So it was very important. And to meet the animals, for example, the horses. And Melissa will tell you later on what happens to one of the most famous horse of the farm. And we also worked with groups of women in reforestation efforts. We work with Trees for Haiti, and also a lot with Women Voices and environmental awareness with women. In the 90s, we went to all the departments of Haiti doing workshops on environmental awareness. And I used to travel with a terrarium that I had made. It was 30 years old, a terrarium, and to show that if we don't mess up with nature, it will take care of itself.
Right.
But now human beings are messing up with. We also had workshops on bamboo as an alternative forward, because we have many challenges in Kenscoff and Haiti in general. Because one of the reasons for destroying the trees is because people count on wood as a resource for fuel.
Right.
So they're still making a lot of charcoal. Most people, they need the charcoal. That's what they have. They don't have money for propane. So on account of lack of governance, he has been stuck in this poverty mode. So when you're in this poverty mode, you have to keep searching for what you need from nature. So you're destroying the nature. You take the trees for charcoal, for wood, for lumber, for everything like that. And most recently, we've had this crisis of those young men who come with their guns in the village, and they've destroyed so many lives. And Theo, every day, I'm talking to you now. This morning, I got news of so-and-so got killed, so-and-so got killed. So every day we're getting news of that. And it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable that in this time, in this century, this is happening to a country close to big countries, to other countries. And today I was thinking before this minute, I was thinking that there should be an international organization that is neutral to take care of other countries who cannot do it by themselves.
Right. Right. I mean, to think that these are descendants of Toussaint L'Ouverture and the folks who really put in work to be revolutionaries, and that this is the fate has befall them, only suggests to me that there is a hand at play that has just never forgiven Haiti for being independent. Because you look at the trade embargoes and the ways that Haiti's been locked out of international trade, thus international development, economic opportunities, you name it. This is the century's fallout of that. And a lot of people who would like to denigrate Haitian people, you know, our very own president called Haiti a S-hole country, right? These people are now doing military activities in the Caribbean. From Venezuela to Colombia, Trinidadians were harmed, possibly killed in the last strike. So we're in a situation right now, when you talk about the larger countries, the West generally is in a regressive neo-fascist state that they are contending with all over. the West, you'll see that there are rising factions of overtly racist and bigoted political parties, movements, you name it, that would seek to disrupt any will within those countries to help out a situation like what's going on in Haiti, and to obstruct news about it from getting into the people who it might like affect. Like when the earthquake in Haiti took place, that was 2010. Who was president in 2010? That was Barack Obama. Now we can talk about the legacy of the Democrats and their interventions, of course, but at least on a superficial level, there is at least the tacit understanding that those who are more liberal and inclusive would care about this. And now we're in a situation where that's not the case. And so speaking of international bodies, I was informed that the president of Kenya tried to send aid there because as I understand it, Haiti is not in the African Union. You got to be on the continent to do that, but it's covered under the 6th region, which includes the diaspora. So there are conversations, there are resources available, but they're not necessarily in the African Union yet. And still, they're certainly in the conversation. And as my understanding goes, you know, the United Nations is aware of this as well as the AU itself. Can any one of you tell me about those efforts and how they went when the Kenyans tried to intervene in this situation?
Well, the Kenyans came. I'm going to talk for Kenscoff. I know they have come to Kenscoff. Yes, I'm going to talk for Kenscoff. Now, their presence meant something to us, their presence only. But to tell you the truth, I heard that they did not have the mission to attack gangs. So I was wondering, why was this presence? Why? Because they did not have the mission and they didn't have the right materials. That's what we were told. But at least I know that the gangs, whenever they see the trying to get the term, I'm sorry, the blended, the armored vehicles of the Kenyan were, you know, in which the Kenyans were, they would sort of go backward. They sort of feared that. So that helped us. Their presence did help us. And but as far as attacking them or you know, putting more pressure on them, because right now, Theo, this is what we need. They're just coming, walking, and killing people. 4 young boys were killed yesterday. 4 young boys. And I don't know about the other side of the mountain, but right nearby. So this is happening all the time.
Right. And here's what I think, and maybe, go ahead, sorry, go ahead.
We hope
Please go ahead. Yeah.
There will be a better reaction or action taken, because we hear that the mission has been changed.
Changed in what
from
capacity,
being
if
passive.
you wouldn't mind?
Yeah.
The mission of the
Kenyan. Can I answer that, Mom?
Yes.
They've changed. So instead of the Kenyan police force, now it's called the Gang Suppression Force. And they will be, there's an estimation of about 5,000 troops that are due to come in. We don't know when, possibly in April, but between now and April, we're not sure what, you know, what can happen in between time. We do know what can happen, but
So Kenya is sending 5,000 troops now for games. These are Kenyans, right?
well, it's going to be a combination of Kenyans and other countries that will be contributing. So I'm not sure that all the 5,000 will come uniquely from Kenya. It'll be a collaboration, from what I understand.
And who's heading this up? Is this from the African Union? Is this from the United Nations? Who's doing this?
I believe it's a combination between the UN, the United States, Kenya.
Right.
I believe it was decided upon in the recent UN meeting, I believe. Is that right, Mom?
I'm sorry, Melissa?
I believe it was decided upon in the recent UN meeting in New York. I could be mistaken, but
Well, it's going to be international. Many countries are sending soldiers.
Yeah.
And this is what they're organizing right now.
But we
we
still
still
don't.
We don't know when, and we don't know the reason behind all of this. What do they want? Who, what is the reason behind making people run away from your place and killing people, kidnapping? Melissa can tell you more about that.
There's been kidnappings?
Yes, it's there's a lot. It's a very current, it's a very common business, I can say, gang business in Haiti right now. Thousands, I don't know if it's thousands, but numerous people in the capital have been kidnapped on a daily basis. And the amount of money that are being asked for ransom it's beyond comprehensible. And about a week ago, a young lady, a 27-year-old, was kidnapped, and her family didn't have the means to release her. And she was publicly executed on camera. And that's kind of what's happening. You know, we have multiple friends and acquaintances and people in our community, farmers, you name it, children that have been kidnapped, and some of them have been released, some of them have not. Most people don't have the means to pay the ransom. And there's been a lot of assaults on women and children. A child was burned, thrown into a fire throughout this period. So all of this began since January. You know, it's been about 10 months now of incomprehensible violence that's, you know, it started in the capital in Port-au-Prince, and now, you know, it's been expanding. And, you know, in our region, it's been since January. And altogether in the capital, there's been about 1.3 million displaced people from their homes. And in our community, we have a lot of friends that have lost their homes. There are a lot of hotels that have been burned, small and large businesses, local farmers who don't have a plan B are now sleeping in the woods, or they're sleeping on church floors or in school floors together. If they do find a place to rest with their children, with their families, some of them are sometimes sleeping 12 to 20 people in one room. And these are not people that were ever asking for money. They were not, you know, they were farmers. They were growing. They were
self-sufficient, yeah.
You know, and now they've found themselves in a position where they're losing a sense of dignity. You know, it's difficult to think ahead if your sense of safety is jeopardized. Your sense of, you know, there's so many people that we know from our community that just don't have any sense of orientation right now.
Jesus. So we've got a crisis on our hands that is seemingly or beyond as intense as any crisis that we in the West have been taught to care about. And I say that speaking carefully, because it seems like, and I don't think I'd be wrong in this, that conflicts in the Black world, whether it be Africa, whether it be the Caribbean, whether it be in Black America, seem to be expected, almost as if it's a weapon. And I've said this before, Black suffering seems to be so normalized because we've got images from 4 separate centuries of us in some kind of trauma to the point where it's like, yeah, what else is new? When suffering happens to other people, it seems to raise the awareness of it. So our job first is to raise awareness, because what I've seen is that attention can move things. At least it's the beginning of it. To know that a thing is happening, to understand that there is a crisis, is part of the reason why certain manipulators in the media keep things out of the media, out of attention, out of awareness. So the first grassroots thing we can do is let folks know that it is happening. I'm a reporter for the African Diaspora News Channel, so I recently did a report on something else that happened in Haiti, these drone strikes that struck and killed some children there. And so that supposedly these strikes came from the police, and I'm like, where are these drones coming from? Same questions we have. So our first step is to raise awareness about this. And I'm wondering, as you sit, from where you sit, what is something that you feel that we could most immediately do and work towards, a target, a goal, to help this situation?
Well, Theo, to be honest, it's overwhelming the amount of things that need to be done.
I
And
believe
sometimes
it.
you don't know where to start. And this is at a global scale. You know, the heaviness of what's happening to humanity right now it's beyond overwhelming. Now for Haiti, we know what we can do in our region. Sometimes you look at the big picture and it's like you don't know where to start, but you can start small. We can start where we are. We can start with what we have. We can start with who we can actually touch immediately. And we can speak for Kenscoff. First is raising the awareness and possibly people who have the capacity to listen despite what's overwhelming at a global scale. If people have it in their hearts to listen to our story and to listen to what's happening in Haiti, at least in our region of Kenscoff, we are in touch with locals who are trying to find a sense of dignity, trying to access the next meal, and to be able to relocate to safer areas. And, you know, that takes a lot of strategizing. It takes a lot of resources. It
Right.
takes a lot of, you know, because when you are displaced with your family, you've had to run with nothing in your hand but, you know, your children without shoes. You've left everything behind. There's so much to think about. The children become vulnerable because they don't have school access to wherever they are relocating near the capital or anywhere that's relatively safer. And, you know, just having the basic resources met before we can even think of further planification. And this is kind of where people are at right now. You know, how can I ensure that I'm going to be able to support my kids for the next 5 days? No, you know, a lot of people can't even think 10 days ahead. You
Right.
know, so
100%.
it's you know, our mission at Wynne Farm has been biodiversity and preservation of natural resources. But how do you even speak of that if people cannot fend for themselves? You know, it's a matter of survival right now, and people are definitely in fight or flight mode. And I believe that so much of our communities near, within, and around the capital are totally dysregulated. And you know, if we can bring a little bit of grounding so that
Mhm.
people can sort of kind of figure out next steps. The government, I believe they will have to step in somehow to figure out larger planning for all of the displaced people in the capital.
Right.
And you know, that's beyond what we can do. It's gonna
For
have to
right
be
now, yeah.
going to have to be organized at a larger scale, at a governmental scale. But what the people that we can reach directly, who have been affected, who have been victims of these raids, victims of these violent acts, you know, a lot of the people, Theo, for example, we know a lot of locals who have been displaced, and as the gangs, you know, they go through waves. They stop for a little bit, they come back after 2 weeks and they do their thing. Some local farmers try to go back to salvage if they have any crops on their land so that they could feed their kids, and they get shot in the process. You know, just for trying to salvage some carrots. You know, and
Right.
so
No,
feeders.
no, seriously. Ah, I didn't mean to cut you off, sis.
I'd like to add something.
Yes, Miss J.
Yes. During all of this time, this period recently, but throughout years, we've had support from Her Many Voices, but especially in these past few months and days, we would like to thank, very special thank to Her Many Voices for helping us support those people, like Melissa said, who are displaced. You know, a lot of them are, like Melissa said, 12 people in a small room. And I mean a small, like a small bedroom. 12 people, some are 20. And, you know, humanitarian aid is so important right now for them. And a place, a roof, a window where to go. That is so important. So I wanted, before I forget, to say a big thank you to Her Many Voices already for supporting that way.
Listen, you beat me to it. That's the first thing that I was going to say. Her Many Voices does so many things. They are connected to so many important people, including folks like yourself. And if there's a way to be made, if there is a way to heal the situation, no storm can last forever. There's got to be a rebuilding period at some point in time. I know this organization, Her Many Voices, will be in some way or capacity connected to that. And so definitely supporting Her Many Voices is a first step. They, along with community partners that, you know, there's too many to mention here, helped y'all get out of that situation into safety so that can regroup and strategize. So even their partners were able to help out. So this is the beginning of that. What I can do and what I'm going to commit to doing is raising awareness, talking about it on my platform and being somebody who has at least the capacity to get the word out to many more people. Because as we see, public opinion changes things. It changes how politicians talk. It changes what they bring up. It changes, therefore, what money gets funded and allocated to certain places and what action gets done from those funds. That's what I can do, you know, in my small way, and as well as I can support Her Many Voices and whatever reconstruction work that you guys do here, you know, whatever needs to be done, joining your community, joining this community are the first steps. And so that we keep talking about this, keep it in consciousness and in awareness, and keep y'all safe because we appreciate you. And we need you, like we need you. Your wealth of knowledge, the work that you've done is not in vain. I don't care what happens down there because you are the library. And we thank you so much for that. Is there anything that you all wanted to impart and say in closing?
Well, we also, I think that, I don't know if we didn't share that last week, but it hasn't even been a week. Our space was burnt down as well. The ecological, the center for rural development that has hosted thousands of people and students and people from our community, and they set it on fire this week. So that was a big shock to us. We are still grieving.
Damn, man.
And what we do know for sure is amidst the grief, we have a bigger understanding that they can burn infrastructure, but they cannot burn a mission.
That's right. Say that. Say that.
Yeah.
And the mission lives on. The infrastructure.
Lives on. Absolutely.
The infrastructure is a symbol of that mission. It is a manifestation of it. It's the fruits of one branch of the mission, but the mission is still here. Y'all's mission is our mission. I am deeply sorry that you are experiencing this and that you are in this grieving process right now. Only thing we can do is wrap our arms around you, be community, raise awareness, and find a strategy to make sure that when those folks get there, you know, whenever they show up, them 5,000 troops, they have the correct mission, and that you're included in that. That's what we can do. Miss Jane, was there something that you want to say? I know this is your whole legacy, your father, your work, your daughter's work, your grandchildren's work. What did you want to say to our audience today?
Yes. Well, in Haiti, we have been a people who are very resilient. As you said at the beginning, very resilient. And even resilient towards climate change, because Haiti is positioned geographically on the path of all hurricanes. That means we are vulnerable. There's a hurricane going right now. Now, I mean, people are stopping us from being resilient. That is the problem. We cannot be resilient. This is worse than climate change. It's worse.
Right.
How can we be resilient towards that violence? So I'm asking everybody, please send love and light to the whole planet, not only to Haiti. We are in a time of turmoil.
Right.
And we are praying for peace. Thank you, Theo.
No, thank you. Thank you. Like, I'm humbled by what you guys have been able to achieve and what you will continue to achieve. This ain't over. It ain't over till it's over, and it ain't over right now. We have what we need to at least continue the mission in another place, and also to make sure that when that place is free, available, and ready to be rebuilt, we're going to raise awareness to make sure that where the energy goes, money also flows. So will human effort. So Wynne Farm Ecological Reserve, still with us as you are, and to be continued, and I mean that, to be continued. On behalf of Her Many Voices, we thank y'all, we love y'all, we appreciate y'all, and we're here for y'all, okay?
Thank you, Theo. Thank you so much. And a big gratitude to all who have made this possible.
Absolutely. Melissa and Jane.
Thank
Our
you.
healers. No doubt. Thank you.
Thank you again for joining us at Her Many Voices Gaia Gossip. Remember, whatever you do for another, you do for yourself. For more information, head over to hermanyvoices.org to learn more about other programs and get involved. From all of us at Gaia Gossip and Her Many Voices Foundation, thank you, and until next time.